Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Morning Tailgate here on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I'm Crispy Bacon here with the Prime Oos. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Allow me to take a quick second to um, wish a member of our C2C family a very old man type birthday. One DJ Wild Banana. I still said it. Yellow Banana. That's our Big B, the big man down in the corner.
And we also have Big B. How you doing today?
Nope. Yep. Today's birthday, number 46. Thanks, Tim. That nickname, Tim can testify, came from when we met up in a small little nightclub up in Iron Mountain, Michigan. The owner of the gave me that DJ Yellow Banana because I made the mistake of wearing a matching outfit that was yellow. So that's how that came about.
Well, happy birthday, and we also
Thank
have
you.
James here with us. How you doing today?
I was that Willy Wonka character because at one time I was wearing like purple shorts and purple shirt.
Pretty much what it
So,
was. That was
so
yellow though.
they called me what's her name on the Willy Wonka movie. But happy birthday, Big B. Mine's on Friday, so
Well,
I'm
happy early
gonna
birthday to you.
thank you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be turning 34.
I'm still a kid.
I
Yeah.
I hear
Oh, no,
that. It doesn't feel that.
I think the kid is in square one there.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So,
As we get into week 7, hard to believe it's week 7. Big B, you had one tough question.
yep, I actually kind of got two because I know
Well,
Wednesday, me and James, Chris, I can't remember if you were on Wednesday, but we talked about the Kayla Williams story, and we kind of talked a little bit backstage, but I wanted to get your guys' input on Kayla Williams slash or his dad coming out and say that Caleb Williams wants part ownership of a team that he gets drafted to. And then I have a second one after that. But Tim, what do you think of those comments?
Well, good luck in Green Bay because they have no owners. But, it's
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I think he's a little like I think we were talking backstage. I think it's the whole I think you just need to shut up and play football. If his dad wants to run his gums, let his dad run his gums all day long. Dads
Yep.
don't mean diddly squat in professional football. I don't care if you're a Manning or not. You do and the worst timing was that it came out after the Notre Dame game where he didn't have this one shot he wanted to get in there.
Yep.
We were saying he threw 3 interceptions after talking mad smack about it last year after beating Notre Dame. I think you need to worry more about your schoolwork and your film work and your play on the football field before you start asking for anything remotely close to a contract at this point.
Yep.
yeah.
Chris, how about you? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think he needs to let his play on the field do the talking. I think that will help a lot. And just play the best football you can. Don't talk about what you're planning on doing. Just talk about what you're going to do, and kind of go from there. I think.
Yeah. And then, James, just kind of reiterate what you stated on Wednesday with your thoughts.
Yeah, with these college players now being paid somewhat on these NILs, it's just really unfortunate. But you're going to have this eventually happen, and maybe I think Callum McClurg mentioned it's going to be a LeVar Ball situation, maybe.
Nope.
But you just don't want this to happen because first of all, it can't happen in the NFL unless they retire, a player retires. So that's one thing to keep note, but. You just don't want this to fester on with his dad, and then, totally like Tim mentioned with the timing of it. That's what I think I mentioned on Wednesday. It was just, it was perfect timing with the report coming out from the summer, and then the fact that his dad earlier this year said, "Hey, He doesn't want to go to a losing team in the draft. He wants to go to these 5 destinations. I didn't like that either, and I'm a fan of his. So I have to be, but he's not playing well as of late.
Well, and that's kind of what I said on Sportsman is that he just needs to shut up, play ball, let his play do talking. And if I'm a close friend that grew up with him, I'd kind of get in his ear and say, dude, chill out. You got a chance to be one of 500 players that, when it comes to the drafting, are going to be able to play professional football, being on the practice squad or get drafted. Just shut up and play. And then also, the Bears got the 1-2 pick right now. I mean, if things set up right, they could go, 1-2 out of and draft his teammate and get a good start for his NFL career. So it's just one of those things where it's just, just shut up and play ball, and don't worry about what's going to lie in the pros because you haven't thrown a pass yet. So, but the second one I have quickly, I think Chris or somebody posted in our chat that Harbaugh's eyeing the Bears job. So, Tim, I'll start with you. Harbaugh back in Chicago as a coach, or what do you think he should do? Contract and situation with Wolverines.
Well, I thought he should have went back to Indy, before we had Frank Reich. Well, and even after before we got changed Steichen, I thought we should have went after Harbaugh because he knows the city, he knows everything like that. Truthfully, I think it's a good deal. It sucks that he would be replacing our former defensive coordinator there in Chicago, Matt Eberflus. I think Eberflus is a little over his skis right now. I think he's a little over his head. He's a defensive mind, a great defensive mind. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think he can run an offense. I think you saw what Jim Harbaugh can do. He's got the mind for the game. I think Harbaugh would be a good idea, especially now. This would be like the Pete Carroll leaving SC to go to Seattle. I think as the proverbial Brown stuff hits the fan going on there. I think it'd be a great time for him to leave Michigan. To be honest, I think he should replace Eberflus in Chicago.
All right, James.
Oh man, I think he's always looking to stay home. And I know home is Chicago, home is Indy, but home should be Ann Arbor. He should stay in Michigan. I don't know really the situation. I know there was a sign stealing, but I hear a lot of people coming after, defending and saying everybody does it. So I hope that he stays in Ann Arbor. His team is at number 2 right now. Ohio State's the main rival, and they got to beat him again. And then hopefully he can win a bowl game. I think he should just stay at Michigan.
Chris?
Yeah, I mean both spots seem to be good. Michigan did win their first 4 games without him, though. Maybe if he did go to Chicago, things will be the same as they were this year. That's hard to think about, but it possibly could be. But I don't know if the coaching would fit better in the NFL compared to college. That's always the dilemma about that.
Well, no, and I think, James, you're right. Kind of stay home. Chicago's home, Indy's home, Michigan's home. I think right now, as a recruit on the Michigan side coming in, it's like, okay, I want to play for Harbaugh, but I want to play for Michigan. You're sitting number 2. I mean, what does that do to my commitment if Harbaugh's thinking about leaving if the Bears job opens up? For Chicago, I think Messer, I think, put it nice in our chat too. I'd love for him to go back to Chicago. I think he goes there. I think he calls up Singletary, brings him back in to get that monster defense going again. I'm trying to think of some other, Bears that could possibly come in and help rejuvenate that Chicago's defense like it used to be. As much as, I know everybody's like, well, you're a Viking fan. But the North is always a good division, and it's those Chicago defenses, 85 and so on, that just had those studs. It was always fun to watch. So, yeah, I think he should stay in Michigan. But again, I guess if that itch is to get back in the college game and Chicago opens up, go back there. But we'll see where it goes. So, Chris, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Big B. Those are two, good questions to think about, and hopefully we'll get answers to those, down the line next off season. Here we have our game picks for the. Well, before we get to that, what's everybody's thought on Thursday night football this week? Anybody want to start?
I can. I was watching the bulk of it. Jaguars, they scored enough in the first half. Derek Carr didn't look so well. Looks like he was missing reads. I just saw a video right now of Winston kind of pointing out and dramatically what he was missing and where he could go with the ball. And I think in the second half, Carr did step up, mostly in the fourth quarter. Unfortunate, Foster Monroe had that drop in the end zone that would have brought him within one. That really sealed the game for Jacksonville. They got lucky there, Jacksonville, that the Saints and Carr and Kamara, it just seemed like they were just doing little dump offs. Carr was hesitant to throw downfield. That was really bad to see because I was really expecting the Saints to air it out this year. You have Olave, you have Michael Thomas back. Olave's been giving up on routes too. I think that really hurts the Saints. I know Carr was just frustrated the last 2 weeks. They lost in Houston. Now they lose Jacksonville. They have time now to get it together with all the days off, the extra days off here. So hopefully they do. But credit to Jaguars getting that win and keeping the winning streak going.
Prime Moose?
I'll be honest, I didn't see that game. I didn't see much for games this week. It's crazy. I see that that the Jaguars had to come back to win that game. I'm kind of hoping that wasn't going to happen. I wanted the Saints. I picked the Jags to win, but I really would have liked the Saints to have lost to keep at least a little distance. But yeah, I'll be honest. I missed that game. I had Kamara. I thought Kamara gave me a lot of points for fantasy football, so I'm happy there.
For me, yeah. So I caught bulk of the game, flipping back and forth to other things, but Jacksonville seems like if they could just keep it together, they're going to be a tough team. Saints, on the other hand, Carr looked like he got a little banged up there in the second half towards the end of the game, limping, crouching down, not getting up right away. I missed the end of the game where the Saints had a chance to score the tying touchdown. I did see the highlight after where the teammates were coming up to the was it Moore there, Chris or James?
More now, yeah.
And yeah, just trying to pump him up and get him, out of his funk. So I mean, it shows you that yeah, there's pro athletes, but they still make mistakes and they still beat themselves over the head when they drop a game-winning touchdown or strike out. So they're all human. I mean, I'm glad to see his team got his back. I know it's probably devastating to him because, he's looked upon and, if you get the wrong fan, as, we all know, you get some hate mail. And we know that's a big thing too, especially if they're on their fantasy team. People have been sending hate mail. Oh, you cost me my championship because you dropped the pass back in week 7, stuff like that. So, but it was a good game overall that I saw. So far this season, I don't know about you guys, been kind of shockers, not the what am I thinking of? Not the same old, I guess, in the NFL. It just seems like we got some new teams knocking on the doors here.
The offense has been really bad, historically bad since 2010 this year. There's not as many points being scored, not many yards being accumulated. That's
really
what.
Well, somebody should tell Miami that then.
Yeah, they're the only ones that are like, okay, we're going to score 70, we're going to score 40, 30. Everybody else is like 25 and below, honestly.
Uh, so before you guys get into your picks, I'm going to get off here. Just you'll see me and Tim not this week because my birthday I'll be gone, but next week we'll return with C2C Rankum. The end of our season 1, and then November we'll start season 2. But my spotlight team this week, I'm going to go with 2 because they both had big losses last week, and that's Philly and the Niners. I kind of want to see what those 2 teams do coming back after a loss. Especially, I'll be watching the Monday night game, Niners Vikings. So, with that being said, I'll see you guys all. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Have a great show, guys.
All right. See you later, Big B. Yeah, games are starting today. We got starting off with Vegas and Chicago. Big B has Chicago for that one. James, who you got?
These are 2 quarterbacks, backup starting Tyson Bagent. And I read that his last start was a loss against the Colorado School of Mines or Diggers. I don't know. That might be Division 2, Division 3, probably Division 3. And then Brian Hoyer is 0-12 in his last
I
start.
think it was Division.
Last 12 starts. I hope the Raiders get the rushing game going and get Jacobs the ball. The Bears are banged up on both sides of the ball. The Raiders are fairly healthy. I know Adams. I know he wants to get his stats against the Bears like he did before. Problem is you have a different quarterback out there. Not the one from Green Bay that used to be in Green Bay. Brian Hoyer, I just hope he makes the right reads. It's his time unless they bring in Aiden O'Connell. But I think the Raiders squeak this out, but it's going to be a really ugly ball game.
So you thinking Raiders?
Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah, I can't agree more with James about this being a very ugly game. This has the potential of being a tie. It's no, yeah, like you said, this is the game of backup quarterbacks. I thought you guys were talking about the Colts game, and then I saw something different. It's just I don't know what to say about these 2 teams. I legitimately didn't think I had the Bears. Here's how bad I thought it was. I had the Bears making the playoffs this year, and that's a good slap in the face. This is almost like the Nationals playing in the World Series. God, this is so bad. This is so. I've got the Bears, but at this point, it's because I had to pick a team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're picking Vegas?
No, I'm taking the Bears.
Okay. I got Vegas in this one. I think I made these picks before. Maybe it's before we learned that Bears won't have their starting quarterback, but hopefully Las Vegas doesn't let me down this week. It was kind of hard to pick, really, but I'm going Vegas. Now we got your game, Tim.
Oh, God.
Cleveland and Indianapolis. Who do you got for this one, Tim?
I've been to one of these games. This is how sad this is. I've been to an Indy Cleveland game, but last time I was at an Cleveland Indy game, they were still in Cleveland. They were still in Cleveland. It was in Cleveland, and it was the day that Marvin Harrison broke the single season receiving record. That was the I think it was Paul Justin was the not Paul Justin. I know it was Manning, but I can't remember who the quarterback was in Cleveland. Oh, this is so terrible. And then I just read that Deshaun Watson's leaning towards playing this week. And yeah, that's a good kick in the face. That's exactly what I was looking for. But with all that being said, I still have Cleveland. I think Cleveland. Deshaun knows how to play against this Indy defense. He did it in Houston. Yeah, I still like Cleveland.
James?
Yeah, it reads here on track to play for Deshaun Watson against Colts. He has like a mysterious shoulder injury where the team says he's cleared to go, but he doesn't feel like he wants to go. And I think now he feels like, oh, maybe this is a winnable game. Maybe I'll go play and see how it is. He was practicing fine all week long. 3 weeks ago he couldn't pass 5 yards. This week he's passing for more than 30 in practice. So it seems like he's okay. Hopefully they rely on the running game, the two backs there, 34 and Hunt. But I also want to see the Colts, Jonathan Taylor. But they're going against the best ranked defense in the league, which is the Browns. So I think the Browns sneak it out. It might be one of those field goal games. But hopefully rushing attacks for both have some good games. But I'm going to go Cleveland.
I'm going Cleveland too. Big B is going Indy. I believe Gardner Minshew is going to be Indy's quarterback going forward unless something changes. Anthony Richardson got shoulder injury or shoulder surgery, and he elected to do that, and now he won't play the rest of the year. What's your thoughts on that, Tim?
I think I started out the season saying that they should have rested. They should have let Minshew start the season. Somebody really needs to talk. I know that he didn't get hurt. I know he didn't get hurt on a he got hurt on a tackle, but he needs to learn how to slide.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this should be something that should be something they should start like enforcing in college. I think I like the kid. I like the kid ever since his days of Florida, being a Gator fan myself. But the mentality, he needs to get that into his head. He's got to, or we could be walking into another Tua situation with concussions and other injuries. With that being said, Minshew's is probably the greatest backup quarterback in the league right now, and he gets to start. I like the kid. The kid can play. He's been in all three of our wins this year. And he beat the number 2 defense, the Ravens, in overtime. So, he's got the ability. He's just got to put it on the field. Now he gets a chance to do that with probably arguably the best backfield in the NFL with Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor. And now he's just got to get what's given to him. I think he'll be fine.
I think so too. James, what do you think?
Yeah, limit the turnovers. He had 3 interceptions. A lot of them looked really bad, to be honest with you, in Jacksonville last week. Limit the turnovers. Don't do too much. Rely on that running game. Zach Moss is doing well, but man, I just want to see Zach Taylor. I want to see Jonathan Taylor do well. I'm getting my Taylors mixed up, but yeah, I just want to see both rushing games do well today.
I do too. I think it's going to be an interesting game. Another interesting game, I guess. Buffalo and New England battle the AFC East. Big B has Buffalo. Tim, who do you got?
Oh, you know what Buffalo needs to do to congratulate Bill Belichick for inking that nice extension? Stomp a mud hole through that team. I think Buffalo I don't understand what's wrong with New England this year, but this New England team is not the New England of any year at this point. I think Buffalo goes into. I think it's in New England, but I think Buffalo goes in and just beats the living snot out of New England. I don't know what they.
Oh, go ahead. No, I found a picture of Belichick when he was real young, and I'm like, hey.
Good Lord. But yeah, it's. I think Buffalo just beats the tar out of them.
James?
I was gonna say the only interesting thing is finding crispy bacon. Is that you? Yeah, look at that. That's Bill Belichick probably in 1970 something. You know, hey, we're the monkeys. No. Yeah, the Bills are gonna stomp them. You just hope for Buffalo that hey, you don't have any injuries, especially to that defense. I mean, they've had so many key injuries, season-ending injuries. You just want to get out of there relatively healthy. Go to your passing game, but James Cook has to have a better rushing game, and I think you could do all the phases on offense because of all the Patriot defensive injuries. You can do whatever today. You can get back on track, and whatever the Bills did last week, don't do basically. Just have fun and throw it around. I'm going to Buffalo.
I'm going Buffalo too. Big B's going Buffalo. I think it's kind of one of those one-sided games. Patriots just doesn't don't seem right, and I don't know if it's they're still trying to find their starting quarterback again, or what it is. I don't know, but it's crazy. What were you gonna
To
say?
me, it's like okay, Belichick has lost his way with the way the league is going. He's the general manager as well, so he's bringing in these players who he thinks is going to be game changers, but they either get injured or they're not. And Mac Jones isn't the guy. He's been replaced once. Don't be surprised if Zappy comes in today, maybe in the second quarter, second half sometime, and try to provide a spark. But where's Juju Smith-Schuster? Where's this offense? Where's this passing offense that's supposed to be there? And it's just bad timing right now for the Patriots. They're literally trying to play with who they have, but who they have isn't good, and they really have to consider starting everything over. Maybe having Belichick go out on his own and just push him out, and then just start fresh, start organic.
Yeah, there's a lot of fans that want Belichick out of New England
Yeah,
in,
that's
in
and
both
most of them are,
positions.
and most of those people aren't New England fans. Um,
Really, that's that's crazy. Oh, because of
because,
is it mainly Indy fans or?
oh no, everybody and nobody wants Bill
Oh,
Belichick in New England anymore.
It's like the
right.
old Brady fans
Yeah,
telling the Patriot fans, "We told you it's Brady. It wasn't Belichick. It was Brady."
That's what I keep thinking too. That it was Brady, not Belichick, but um, Washington and the Giants. Big B has the Giants winning. James, who do you got?
I'm gonna go to Washington. Their defense is really good. Their offense got back on the right track today. That was really, really good to see. The Giants, last week they wore their Color Rush or '80s throwbacks. They're gonna wear their '80s home throwbacks today. The Giants will have their infields, their end zones painted today, so that's gonna be fun to see. Um, I think they should go back to these uniforms. They're really nice. That's the only thing nice I can say about the Giants right now. However, they did play really good against Buffalo. They made them play their game instead of Buffalo's game. But Washington, I think they're going to sneak out a win. Um, it'll be close, but I think Washington wins.
Tim?
yeah. I've got the Giants only because I heard Tyrod Taylor is still playing quarterback, but then I see that nice scary thing that Daniel Jones might play today, and I'm thinking,
Ugh.
oh God, no, I might have to change my pick. Um, no, it's I honestly I'd like to see the Commanders just go in there and beat the snot out of the Giants, but I just don't see that happening. Um, I've exactly. um, it's crazy. I thought the Giants were going to take a step back, but I didn't think they were going to fall in a hole. And they did.
Yeah.
Uh, it, I think we're going to see a little bit of a spark. They played okay against Buffalo last week. I think we're going to. I think we need to be a little more of that against Washington. This is a flyer taking New York, but I'm gonna take New York because I got to start catching up on some people on our in our picks.
So you're going
Giants,
Washington Giants? Okay.
Giants.
Uh, I'm going back and forth on this game. I got Washington, and I think only that was because at the time I think Daniel Jones was going to start. I've heard back and forth of like you were saying, he's going to start. No, he's not. Um, so I don't know. It's kind of back and forth, but we'll see what happens when the final reports come out if he is playing or not. You also have coming up Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Big B has Tampa Bay. James, who do you got for that one?
Oh, Falcons came off of a horrible late loss. Ritter with 2 picks late, I think 3 overall, made his coach, have all the expressions in the world. Tampa Bay didn't look good offensively coming off a bye. I'm going to go with the Falcons, hoping that the rushing game gets going again. They have a lot of different options they can get to. But then you also got to, if that's taken away, you got Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Hopefully you get the ball to those guys if you're Desmond Ritter. Or you go to the backup. Tyler Heineke is there. So maybe we'll see that and the Falcons pull out a win. So I'm going to go Atlanta.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Baker Mayfield can do against the 4th best defense in the league. It's kind of scary to sit there and say that the Atlanta Falcons have the 4th best defense and the 4th best pass defense in the league, but it's what it is. It's going to be a good test, I think, for Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. But I've got the Buccaneers, and I think it's not the defense that's gonna. I don't think the defense is going to be the reason why the Falcons lose. I think it's going to be Ritter. Ritter is going to probably be the reason why the Falcons lose this game.
So you're going to Atlanta?
No, I'm going Tampa.
Okay. Something tells me to go Tampa. I don't know. I feel like Baker Mayfield's better of the 2 quarterbacks. Big B's also going Tampa. I would like to see the former Washington quarterback. You mentioned it, James.
Tyler Heineke.
Heineke, yeah. I don't know why Washington just like, hey, you're good, but we're gonna get rid of you. I never understood that, but another story, I guess. Detroit and Baltimore, probably the 2 better teams in the NFL in each conference, squaring off. Big B has Detroit winning. Tim, who do you got?
I've got Detroit. I think this is going to be a really good game. There's so much potential. I think it's going to be one of the first tests that probably one of the bigger tests that Detroit has to have this year. Another test for the Ravens, their defense, and Lamar Jackson on the offensive side of the ball. This is probably the best game of the afternoon, in my opinion. It's probably going to be the best game of the afternoon. So I've got Detroit, no Montgomery, but but they still have their first round pick. I think it's still going to be. I think it's going to be an amazing game. I think this is going to be an exciting game to watch.
James?
Yeah, the Lions won't have Marvin Jones Jr. as well, but you got Jameson Williams, you got Josh Reynolds, Goff and Reynolds. They have a good thing going from Los Angeles, and it really shows. They really throw the ball around well. Good tight ends. I'm going with Detroit. I feel like Lamar Jackson, he's not running as much this year, but he's got to air the ball out more. I think conditions will be kind of wet today there in Baltimore. That might favor the Ravens somewhat, but I'm going to go with Jared Goff. It seems like He's doing well. I think he's undefeated on the road. I know Jared Jacobs is out their corner, but I don't think that'll hurt too much. The Lions' defense have the best rushing defense in the league, so keep that in mind as the Ravens try to run on the Lions today. But I'm gonna go Detroit.
From Jared Goff's current team to his former team, the Rams. They're taking on the Steelers. Rams are at home, and Big B has the Rams winning that game. James, who do you have for that one?
I really wanted to see Kyron Williams run, but he's out with an injury on the 4-game IR, unfortunately, because he ran all over the Cardinals last week. Rams coming off a win. Steelers, I think, coming off a bye, going cross country. It's going to be pretty much a Steeler home game. It's going to be a lot of black and gold. This is a rematch of, I think, the Super Bowl in 1980. The Rams look really good with Goff going, Puka Nacua and Higbee. Stafford's doing well as long as he's upright, but I'm worried about T.J. Watt getting in there and Highsmith and Michael Fitzpatrick in the secondary. I'm really torn about this one because it seems like really even teams, but I'm going to say the Rams win. It'll be really close. They're going to lean on Royce Freeman and Darrell Henderson as a rushing game, but I feel like Aaron Donald's going to have a big sack to seal the game for LA. So I'm going to go with the Rams.
Tim?
Yeah, I'm still not sold on Kenny Pickett. Last year I am like so happy that he got drafted by Pittsburgh, and then he's shown very few glimmers of anything in the possibilities of what his future could look like, and it's scary. And then you're looking at the other side, and you're looking at a guy, you're looking at Matthew Stafford, who's been in the league for as long as I can remember at this point. But then you've got probably the two best wide receiver, probably arguably top 5 wide receiver package in the NFL right now, outside of Miami, with Puka and Cooper Kupp. Puka scares me. Puka if Puka doesn't win the rookie of the year, it's going to be a travesty, I think. I think Matthew Stafford throws all over the field. I think Stafford can find the holes in that defense. I've got the Rams.
Big B has the Rams too. I got the Rams. I think that one's a clean sweep. We move on to Seattle, where they're taking on Arizona. Seattle's at home. Big B has Seattle. Tim, who do you got?
I've got Seattle. It's still the Geno Smith show at this point. You're starting to think that maybe Russell Wilson wasn't all that he was said to be, especially if you see what he does in Denver. And I like Geno Smith. Arizona's going to make a game of it because that's what Arizona does. But I've got Seattle.
James?
Yeah, Buda Baker will be activated from the IR just in time to get traded before next week. He'll be one of those to go. DK Metcalf will be a game time decision. That'll be very important to see. He's got to stop those unnecessary penalties that hurt their drives. We saw that last week in Cincinnati. And that ended up hurting them. They can't score in the red zone. I mean, last week they got stopped so much by the Cincinnati defense. I think Seattle wins, but man, Cardinals play everybody tough. It's just unfortunate they don't have the talent as everybody else does. Dobbs is now running for his life, like last week we saw in LA against the Rams. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Seattle. Just they gotta score more efficiently. They got to get back to the rushing game and mixed up with the passing game, and then the defense has to be better. I know they only held Cincinnati to 17, but Cincinnati's finding their way. But against Cardinals, you really should shut them out or just allow a couple of field goals if you're Seattle's defense. So I'm gonna go Seahawks.
I'm going Seattle too. Big B's going Seattle. A couple of things before we move on. Deshaun Watson is playing for Cleveland. And before the season started, Belichick signed a contract. He did not say how much or how long, but
Just lucrative deal that he won't be fired this year, basically. Yikes.
right. Green Bay and Denver. I guess a Super Bowl, way back Super Bowl matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Big B has Green Bay winning. Tim, who do you got?
I've got Green Bay winning this game. I don't know if the Sean Payton experience in Denver was what they were expecting. I'm guessing not. I don't know. I give that another year before I decide to start blowing things up. Green Bay was getting a cornerback back, weren't they? Had just gotten a cornerback off the IR.
Alexander.
So.
Yeah. And that's just good to know them but help. I've got and Jordan Love going to play in Mile High for the first time. I like Green Bay in this game, even though they're a 1-point favorite. I don't think it's going to be that close.
Green Bay is also expected to get back Aaron Jones today, and that would be very key because, again, we saw Jordan Love make some bad decisions against the Raiders, which I was okay with. But if you're a Packer fan, you didn't like that because you're wondering if he's the guy. I think this year it's kind of an experimental year. You're trying to figure out if he's the guy and who you go with long term. But Jordan Love has to play better, and then the Broncos are a mess. It just seems like, at the before the trade deadline, I know they already made some moves, but you make some more moves. Judy isn't the guy. Sutton, maybe you can get something for. Defensively, there's some players out there that you can move and get something back for draft picks, players. But I don't know how much the Broncos do it. Russell Wilson just has to be efficient, use his legs. I'm gonna go with Green Bay, but it'll probably be a really ugly game, like far cry than what we thought we had last year or the years before.
I agree. I got Green Bay. Big B has Green Bay. I think this is going to be a one-sided game. I think Green Bay is going to probably score most of the points. Maybe Denver gets on the board, but that's kind of what I think on that. Divisional matchup in the AFC West: Chargers and the Chiefs. Big B has Chiefs. Tim, who do you got?
I've got the Chiefs. I like Justin Herbert as a quarterback. I just don't know what's going on. I think the Chargers been hurt with not having Eckler playing. I believe he's playing tonight or tonight for me. I've got the Chiefs, but this game is going to be a lot closer than I think it originally was supposed to be. Because I know they got the Chiefs as a 6-point favorite, but I think that game's got a potential being a field goal game.
Ooh. James?
Yeah, I think the biggest question will Taylor Swift make her way back to Kansas City to watch. No, I'm just kidding. Last year, these two squared off for the first Amazon Thursday night game, and it was really, really good. It came down to the last drive, and the Chiefs held them. Herbert, he's making things happen, but then some of the theatrics run out and the heroism runs out. It's just a fact if they mess up the game at the end, if the coach makes bad decisions, it's going to come down to that again. But Kansas City, they get Hartman back, but I wonder if they make some other moves before the deadline. For this game, though, I think Kansas City holds on. They score enough to win. They're not scoring as much, and like I mentioned, the offenses haven't been scoring as much this year since 2010. It's been kind of weird to see Kansas City just be normal. We thought that last year, that without Tyreek Hill, they wouldn't be as good, and they won the Super Bowl. This year, you're kind of seeing them, despite the 5-1 record, not score as much, but the defense is holding games, and I think this one will be the case. I think Kansas City holds on.
Yeah, I think so too. I can't remember if it was against the Chargers, but Kansas City like undefeated against them with Patrick Mahomes. I can't remember.
Sounds right.
Yeah. I'm going with Kansas City. Big B's going Kansas City. It's kind of a clean sweep. That was our final afternoon, late window. We got primetime games. Miami and Philadelphia. Big B has Philly winning. Tim, who do you got?
I remember how I said Baltimore and Detroit were going to be the best games of the early games.
Yes.
This is going to be the best game of the day. This has so much potential of being a Super Bowl preview. This has got scary written all over it.
We're not even home yet.
Yeah, I want to see what Philadelphia does against that high-powered offense in Miami. It's scary. It's a big test for both teams. Huge test for both teams. I think this is going to be a close game. It's just who's going to run out of gas first at this point. I've got Philly.
James?
We remember these two quarterbacks being teammates at Alabama.
Yeah, that's weird.
And Hurts, transferring to Oklahoma while Tua stayed and thrived in Alabama before his injury. Jeff Wilson Jr. will be back for the Dolphins. That'll help the rushing game. I know the Eagles have some defensive injuries. Julio Jones will be on the active roster. I don't know how much he'll play against the Dolphins, but it's weird to see him back in the NFL. I thought he was just going to be retired and whatnot, but I think the Eagles are wearing their, throwbacks. That'll be fun to see.
Yeah, with the Eagle.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Miami. I think just their high-powered offense continues. Man, with Philadelphia, they're not scoring as much as they did last year. Just something's off this year. Jalen Hurts not playing as well. You saw a really good Jets defense take them down. And Miami has a good defense. So I know Xavier Howard, he's kind of banged up. He's going to play, but he's going to be monitored. I was hoping to see Jalen Ramsey, but he's not ready yet. So I think the Dolphins hold on, but I think it would be a close game. The only way I think the Eagles win if they make the Dolphins play their game, which is low scoring, not high-powered offense. So something has to give. I'm gonna say Miami wins.
I just looked it up. This is the battle of number 1 and number 2 offenses in the NFL right now. And the thing is, and the funny thing is, Miami's doing 505 yards a game to Philadelphia's 407.
Oh wow! Should be a running or no passing game battle here. I'm going Philly. Sadly, they're probably the better of the two teams. Both teams do have one loss though. San Francisco. I think it was San Francisco. No. Yeah, I was trying to think who Philly lost to last time.
Philly lost
The Jets.
the Jets.
Jets. Okay. Yeah, that was kind of unfortunate for them, but I think they'll get back on their winning streak. In our Monday night game, San Francisco and Minnesota. Big B has San Francisco winning. James, who do you got?
Well, I'm looking at the injury report. Deebo Samuel will be out for at least a couple of weeks. Christian McCaffrey is likely to play, but he's probably limited. And Trent Williams likely will be out. I'm going to say their left tackle. So Danielle Hunter, maybe he'll have a good game defensively. That's what the Vikings really need. They need a good defensive game for once. But they still have some weapons on the 49ers to win this game, pretty handily. So I'm going to go San Francisco on this. I just don't trust Kirk Cousins in a primetime game. I just don't. So I'm going to go San Francisco, but hopefully they don't lay an egg like they did in Cleveland last week.
Tim?
I'm taking San Francisco. I'm taking San Francisco as my lock, and pretty much the only reason why, because we all know what Captain Kirk Cousins does on primetime games, and it looks absolutely terrible. Yeah, no Deebo Samuel is going to hurt San Francisco, but you still got Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, I like San Francisco as my lock.
My lock is Buffalo, by the way.
Uh-huh. I'm going San Francisco. I'll go Philly as my lock.
Ooh.
Oh,
Hopefully.
that could hurt. That could hurt a lot.
That could hurt, yeah. But yeah, those are our picks. Take it for what it's worth. Hopefully we get these games right, and hopefully all goes well. We move on to the Prime 5. Tim, what's your Prime 5 for the week?
Well, I decided to do top 5 defenses. It was nice that James and I started pulling out defenses during our analysis of teams. But it's funny that I looked at it and I saw it right away because I did this last year too. But I went top 5 defenses with the number 5 defense. I've got the Kansas City Chiefs. They're number 5 in passing. They're 12th in rush, and they're 2nd in scoring.
Wow.
Number 4, I've got the Atlanta Falcons. They're 4th in the pass, 11th in the rush, and 14th in scoring. Well, my third shouldn't be any. It shouldn't be any type of shock to anybody. But the 49ers are 10th in the pass, 5th in the rush, and they're 1st in scoring. Then you got the Baltimore Ravens at number 2. They're 2nd in the pass, 9th in the rush, and 4th in scoring. And then my number 1, I've got the team that I get the lucky bounce of facing this week, the Cleveland Browns. Like James had said earlier, they're 1 against the pass, 3 against the rush, and 5 against scoring. Yeah. I wouldn't want to face any of these teams, and right now I'm going to be facing 2 of them.
Oh no, that's not good. No. So, those are interesting teams. James, what do you think of those?
Well, I know you mentioned top 5. I guess some ones that didn't make it but are on their way would probably be Detroit. Again, the best against the rush. Or up there, I should say. The Jets really played a good defensive game last week despite not having Sauce Gardner. Miami's really good. Buffalo can be when not injured. What shocked me on that list was Baltimore, because they're really not known, I guess you would say, the names like they used to be, but they do play really well. And then Kansas City, they're just known for their offense, but this year their young defense is coming up pretty huge like they will today. And then Jacksonville's defense is coming up pretty good as of late. They've been getting some good stops, turnovers. Look out for Jacksonville to have a good defensive game. Washington is always in there making plays. But and then you can see the way that the offenses aren't scoring as much. You can see
Mhm.
that. It's a total 180 from what we think the NFL is, where it's an offensive league. Well, right now,
Yeah,
it's old style football where hey, we're getting defensive. We're gonna stop these offenses. We're gonna make teams play our way. It's really good to see. Actually, it's really a
yeah,
breath of fresh air instead of glorified arena football games that we get sometimes.
Yeah, I mean it's good defenses, and maybe the rankings will change at the end of the year or at some point. Keep an eye out for that. And as we close out, any final thoughts, Tim?
it's going to be an exciting. I think it's going to be exciting. I think the two games that everybody should watch is, like I said earlier, is going to be the Baltimore Lions game, and then the Dolphins Eagles game. Other than that, I think we got some exciting screw ups coming up. I think we're going to watch some. I think we've got probably some one sided battles, but that's just. But then again, that's NFL every week.
Hmm.
James?
Yeah, I'm interested again to see the defenses of each game and how they'll stop the offenses. I want the Raiders to somehow pull out a win in Chicago, but that's going to be very tough. I just can't wait till the Sunday night game, the Lion game. Chargers and Chiefs should be fun, unless both offenses become stagnant somewhat. So I'm looking forward to some of the action today.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun week. Hopefully, all the teams do well and move up in their standings, and it's going to be a fun rest of the season, fun week. Join us for another morning tailgate here on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Uh, thanks to James, Big B, and Tim for hopping on. We'll be back next week with another edition of Morning Tailgate. Have a great week, everybody.